Great, beautiful sunrise family. I hope all is well with you as it is with me as I talk about today divine retribution and why there has always been for every action a reaction, and why people have turned it around to make it look like divine retribution is a crime, because it's something. It's almost as if anytime black people get retribution, or the divine decides to destroy, like Solomon and Gomorrah, like Solomon and Gomorrah. Um, it was a awful hell pit, dirty, grimy, much much relation to way we see the world today, dirty and grimy. But I'm hoping to make this clear, educational wise, exactly why things are happening the way they are in the world, and why the fight against divine retribution is is fierce. It's so strong that only because of the minds of the people, because the minds of the people have been manipulated and fooled into believing that the good is good and the bad is bad. It's not exactly the way it's not exactly that way in this world anymore. It's hard to see because the manipulation of everything. But I hope through this video you can see some kind of clarity. And I wanted to talk about real quickly also one thing before I get into this video. The Nancy Pelosi situation with her husband. You know, we all know that that was staged. We should have immediately known that that was a staged situation, because she cannot stand the heat. She never could stand the heat. She couldn't take the heat with Trump in office. She couldn't take the heat of him winning. So she had to bow out. She had to bow out. Hold on, family. Hold on a second. Hold on a second, family. I'm back. Sorry about that. I'm going to share something with you right quick. It's obvious, it's quite obvious that, let me see my history here if I can find it today. Just was looking at it last night. Okay, I found it. I found it. Uh, Hold on. Let me pause it and let me share it on a video with you guys. And then we'll get back to the other stuff in a few minutes. I'm going to do a lot less talking and a lot more sharing with you guys. Um, all right. Okay. So let's get into this particular video. Let me see first if you all can see what I'm seeing. Yeah, you can see it, which is good. Okay, and now let me play it.
That we want to talk about Miguel Almaguer. He's the NBC News reporter. A few weeks ago, we brought you the story. Here he is, who told us the truth about what happened in the Paul Pelosi story. After his report aired, which was factually accurate according to the police and the district attorney's filing. Okay, that's where this information came from. And separately, then confirmed by another NBC News report who's witnessed the body cam footage and confirmed Almaguer's story. He went missing, gone. He was suspended from NBC. His report was deleted from NBC's website, and it was taken off of Twitter completely. Gone. This is the original NBC News report that got him disappeared.
Craig, good morning. When officers arrived here at the Pelosi home exactly a week ago today, they initially didn't have any idea exactly what was going on. They knew they had a high priority call on their hand. What was unclear, what was happening inside the property just behind me.
Here is the reporter that we want to talk about, Miguel Almaguer. He's the NBC News reporter. A few weeks ago, we brought you the story. Here he is, who told us the truth about what happened in the Paul Pelosi story. After his report aired, which was factually accurate according to the police and the district attorney's filing. Okay, that's where this information came from. And separately then confirmed by another NBC News report who witnessed the body cam footage and confirmed Almaguer's story. He went missing. Gone. He was suspended from NBC. His report was deleted from NBC's website, and it was taken off of Twitter completely. Gone. This is the original NBC News report that got him disappeared.
Craig, good morning. When officers arrived here at the Pelosi home exactly a week ago today, they initially didn't have any idea exactly what was going on. They knew they had a high priority call on their hand. What was unclear, what was happening inside the property just behind me.
Here is the reporter that we want to talk about, Miguel Almaguer. He's the NBC News reporter. A few weeks ago, we brought you the story. Here he is, who told us the truth about what happened in the Paul Pelosi story. After his report aired, which was factually accurate according to the police and the district attorney's filing. Okay, that's where this information came from. And separately then confirmed by another NBC News report who's witnessed the body cam footage and confirmed Almaguer's story. He went missing. Gone. He was suspended from NBC. His report was deleted from NBC's website, and it was taken off of Twitter completely. Gone. This is the original NBC News report that got him disappeared.
Craig, good morning. When officers arrived here at the Pelosi home exactly a week ago today, they initially didn't have any idea exactly what was going on. They knew they had a high priority call on their hand. What was unclear.
Straight up to my face. It's like, yeah, it looked good to me. I got big people showing big love for me. Never saw them. No, good looks good, but is it really good? Good may look good, but is it really good? I struggled over this because I used to be a CNN watcher. I used to be all into all the stuff, right? All the good divine, all the good things pass through, that good feeling stuff that passed through Facebook to make everyone feel connected in oneness. And then I started seeing the light. I started seeing the truth of things. It just was so clear to me, like the air, clear to see. just too clear to see that. And then your own experiences in life, realizing that people do smile in your face like everything's all right, but they really fake. That too. So let's get right into it because I don't have a lot of time. So we're going to get into this video. First, we're going to look at, American Blacks and how we were before before everything, the lynchings and stuff started up. We were prosperous, we were doing well. Da 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 da. We were not integrated.
In Oklahoma, in terms of the number of African American towns
And
that were
and this
established,
wasn't just
some suggest
Oklahoma, this
upwards
was
of
all over.
50 African American towns between 1924 and 1928. Reverend S.S. Jones was going around documenting this sort of self-determined, vibrant African American communities. You see the African American educators, doctors, lawyers, landowners, oil barons. And I think
Yes.
that's what's so remarkable about this footage. To think that individuals, how many years out of slavery, are now owning oil wells that are producing 2,000 barrels a day. Is that not the ultimate American dream? Is that not the ultimate American story? It flies in the face of what I think some people consider part of African American history and culture. And I think that that was one of the things that Oklahoma and what S.S. Jones is really kind of showing is that African American history and culture is not a monolith. And in a way, it became kind of like a marketing tool to encourage individuals to migrate, to move there, that this is a place where you can live, you can thrive, and peacefully reside. There were still palpable racial tensions.
Some things you have to be a monolith on. Everyone else is. Everyone else today is a monolith, and they have prosperous communities like we had back in the days. Yes, they do.
There are lynchings, there's Jim Crow, segregation.
Now they come to where we live because we're integrated now, and they take from our communities, are trying to build communities, and they take from that. And also, not only do they open up businesses that we lack in, they also take back the money and put it back into where they live, their places. This is integration. This is the melting pot.
There's all of these things, and you still have an African American community, or many communities, that really speak to the fortitude and resilience of Black people in this country.
And mind you, we came out of slavery, so-called slavery. And we came out of bad things happening to our people, and went to building ourselves up. We didn't build ourselves up off of anyone. We built ourselves up off ourselves, off our skills, off our abilities. If you don't learn from the past, how are you going to live in the future? Not making the same mistakes, or not being conned into their narrative of today, of you today. You see, we play big time into the narrative of ourselves today, especially through communication. That's the huge problem. Our music used to be stories told. Our music used to be beneficial lessons to going to hip hop, affirmation. Hip hop became affirmation, building. Then they were able to see a way to profit and to downtrod us. Now let's look at another video here. Oh, do I want to jump into that one right now? No. I know what one I want to jump into now. Hold on. My clothes are ready. Okay, I'm looking for this one video here. Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
The Jim Crow era was marked by a reign of domestic terror known as lynching, a grotesque form of mob rule without judge or jury. The first reported lynching is said to have occurred in Madison, Mississippi in 1835, and what followed were decades of hangings, used as a way to terrorize black people.
People who carried out these lynchings could have buried the bodies in the ground, but hanging was preferred because it lifted these bodies up to terrorize and taunt communities of color.
Some people even brought children and picnic baskets to these brutal murders. Others took photographs of the victims, using them to produce lynching postcards. With law enforcement so often negligent in the face of lynch mobs, it took a revolution in public opinion to bring an end to lynchings as a public spectacle. Few did more to end lynching than journalist Ida B. Wells. Wells's reporting documented hundreds of lynchings and countered the belief that the hangings were justifiable punishment for brutal acts of criminality. Building on Wells's research and writings, the NAACP made the fight to end lynching core to its mission.
This is why it was not very, it was not a smart thing for us to integrate, because as we see that it's gotten worse as far as some of these secret lynchings that we have had in the recent years here. Not so far as just a couple of years ago or so. These things still go on. Crime against our men, against our women still go on. It's high. It's even higher, where we could have put up a defense when we were separated. I don't know why they call it the Jim Crow era. We should have been proud of that separation, because we had the businesses, we had everything, we had our communities. And if we were still at that point today, imagine with the laws and stuff that are in place today. But somehow, this is the way I see it, family. It's been able to be tucked under for us, the treatment. It's like a secret. It's like it's blanketed when it comes to never allowing us to get back to that point again. No one sees it. No one sees it but us. And no one will do anything about it. They know it because it's in their hearts and minds to do this to us. But only we can see it. Only some of us can see it. Some of us are don't think that these things are anything today. So they don't think that we need our own businesses. They don't think we need our own communities. People have gotten used to this integration thing, and that's the nature. That's what the beast wanted. Unfortunately, people don't know what they're reading in the Bible.
They would hang a black flag saying a man was lynched today. It was very successful in mobilizing African Americans and their allies.
Though lynchings decreased in most parts of the country, they remained a vicious practice in the South. Notably, the brutal murder in 1955 of 14-year-old Emmett Till. Till was kidnapped and murdered by two neighborhood white men after he was accused of whistling at a white woman in their store. His mother's insistence on an open casket and press photos of his mutilated body catalyzed the civil rights movement. Till's accuser would recant her story more than 60 years later. The last documented lynching in the United States took place 26 years after Emmett Till was murdered. In 1981, Michael Donald was attacked at random by two members of the Ku Klux Klan. He was beaten, then strangled, and hanged. Donald's mother filed a case against the Klan and won. An all-white jury awarded her $7 million. The case also set a legal precedent that hate groups are responsible for the action of their members. It wouldn't be until 2018 that the United States Senate passed a bill that would classify the act of lynching as a hate crime.
After 100 years and more than 200 failed attempts in the United States Congress, the United States Senate finally spoke the truth about lynching.
The bill serves as a symbolic apology for Congress's failure to act as thousands of African Americans were brutally murdered.
All right, my next video here, let me share it with you guys. Okay, we're ready to get that one. This is before World War II, which is what my grandfather fought in World War II.
Population. Jewish life across Europe was diverse in religious practice, occupation, and degree of integration into regional and national life. In little more than a decade, most of Europe would be dominated by Germany and its Axis partners, and the majority of European Jews, 2 out of every 3, would be killed. Museum's film archive that was shot by Jews who had immigrated to the United States. They brought along their 16mm movie camera and shot this footage showing the Jewish quarter of Warsaw in summer 1939, just a few weeks before the invasion of Poland by Germany, which started World War II.
So Poland was invaded by Germany. Poland was invaded by Germany.
His daughter recalls, Dad insisted that his movies be in color. He was very proud of that. This is one of several films in the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum's film archive that was shot by Jews who had immigrated to the United States but then returned to Europe and recorded scenes of daily life. Dr. Gasul's daughter said, Dad wanted to visit the historic Jewish quarter of Warsaw to see how Jews were living. Part of filming this community would be to reconnect with the roots he had in Riga. Here you see typical features of amateur movies, kids trying to get in the frame, while some adults, especially religious Jews, cover their faces. In Poland in 1939, the camera would have been a novelty to many of those being filmed. Albert Hess came from a prominent Jewish family in Pirna, Germany. Here, in July 1936, Albert and his first wife, Ilse Sobel, dine in a cafe. Albert and his two siblings and their families managed to escape Nazi Germany just a year later in 1937. He eventually settled in New York and returned to Europe with the American military as an intelligence officer and interpreter. Still and motion picture photography were Albert's lifelong.
See, these people always had power. They're Europeans. They're Europeans. Mind you, Jewish is a religion that was adopted. They adopted. It's a religion. It's not a race. It's not a human condition. Being Jewish is not a human condition in any form of shape or way. But it can be used as a defense. It can always be used as a defense whenever you feel like you want a defense. It can be used as one. Anything can be used as a defense, except your human condition. You've being discriminated because of the way you look and who you are, and when you're different than the ones who have afflicted the atrocities against you. That's what I call real discrimination. When you have power because you're a European, and just because you choose to be a Jewish, or you choose to do anything in life that's other than your nature, that's a choice. That's a choice. That's why, in the natural law, when you choose to go against your own nature and things, be prepared for the punishment. Be prepared for not necessarily a punishment, because who's to say? But when you decide to go against your nature, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to deal with, health-wise. When you eat the wrong things, it's going to be a reaction that you're going to get if your body cannot take that certain food that you're eating. That's just nature. That's what I'm trying to say. Like with anything. And that's what is happening here. When we saw these people that call themselves Jews, but they're living outside of the Jewish ways by the love of money, and what they've done is hidden behind the word Jewish, and many times try to conflict the word, or inflate the word, or make it something that it's not, make it more seem like it's a bloodline. Because they do say your mom's side. That doesn't make sense. What does your religion have to do with your mom? Especially if you adopted into it. Because it stemmed from something that was original, but has been built, something that didn't exist before. So
lifelong hobbies. He even included titles in his film, such as this, which reads, Returning Home from a Walk.
That makes a lot of sense. Hey, family. Welcome, you three. Welcome all.
The Schermeister family lived in Copenhagen, but spent their summers in Snekkersten, Denmark. This is a Havdalah ceremony marking the end of the Jewish Sabbath. In October 1943, the Schermeisters were warned of the impending roundup of the Danish Jews. The family made it safely to Sweden, but Bernhard, who plays with his children here, committed suicide the day after their arrival. Lise, the tallest of the three girls, is the donor's mother.
And you wonder how they lived so good. They lived good off of slavery. They lived good off of slavery of our people. Hold on a second. This is how they were able to flourish in Europe. I wish I could find the video of them in Europe. I'm going to try to find, because they do have, I can say Anne Frank before. And I used to really cry over the Anne Frank diary, because that's one thing we learned as kids in school about her book, about her story. I think that those stories, English was like something I think that influenced me to want to write music, to write, and just being around music, just hearing it, just all that stuff encouraged me in my life. Hold on, family. Let me get this call. I need to get ready to get out of here. Irritating people bugging me. Okay, anyways, let's try to find this before. Okay, this is how they lived. This is how they lived before. This is how they lived. They were able to do their own narrative, is basically what I'm trying to point out. Okay, here, this is what I'll just stop this and present this. This is the way they lived. Here you go. In Germany. And of course, you know that they had their own section. They had business, they had everything. Just like, but how did they get all of that? Hitler knew. Hitler knew. And that's the point I want to get to, is the divine retribution that was happening. Hold on. The divine retribution that was, because wealth has to come from somewhere. And he knew the people that put him in place. We all know that that was the Rockefellers. We know about the Rockefellers. We know about the what's the other people? Rothschilds. We know about the Rothschilds. We know about these names. Um, hey, General Mosquito, welcome. Yapa and the second one. But we know about all these families, bankers that traveled and put their family members up in different places in Europe and America and all across the planet for world dominance and control. And we know that they call themselves Jews, right? So we know we also call them deep state here in America. I'm just trying to point out today, because it's a big issue right now, them calling the Black community anti-Semitic. And I've been called anti-Semitic before. I've been to a Jewish church. Temple. I've been to a Jewish temple or church, what have you. And to me, it's a religion first. It's not about a bloodline. It's not about your mama. It's not about a connection to anything for anyone. It's just a religion. And these religions are evidently not a solution to the world issues, but have been utilized to confound and control the people, and to make people see the world, see fake love as love, not seeing your enemy for what they are, because you don't know the underhanded things how they're living, how they're getting their life off of you. You're not seeing that. And that's the problem. But divine retribution, they want to fight against it so much. Like I told you about Nancy Pelosi. She did another stage. Well, and her husband, a real guy, got arrested. Powerful people can do whatever. They can do whatever. But we don't have no checks and balances in place, or we don't have something that can hold them accountable for what they do. The deception of the public people, we don't have nothing like that. We don't have no protection. Just like the Black community, we don't have nothing. Because it's power. It's this illusionary power. And sometimes I feel like we give it to it. Yapa said, it's crazy to see how our people are slowly being painted as the ones who are the most racist of everyone on the planet. Well, if you were the racist people and you were seeing another group of people as non-human, and you got everybody else in your court seeing us as we're the only ones that are not like anybody else. We don't have the same blood as everybody else. Our brains, our DNA level is higher than them and the animals on the planet. Anyone on the planet, including the animals. We're high on the level, a higher level than what animals and these beings are, people are. So look at it this way. They are not going to really fend for us. There's no one to help us because of that, because we're different. And they all are able to see us as non-human. That's why a lot of times when we interracially make children with them, I cringe, because something in my nature does something, because I see that when you do that, you're producing more self-hate. More people that hate us are being produced. So, because the majority of the hate in the world is this group of people, and it's in their hearts and so and minds and spirit. It's in their spirit. It's in their nature. It's just there to be against us. So when you do bring a child in the world with them, the child is going to side with them, depending on the environment that child is raised in. If you are a man and you leave your child in an environment with the mother, then shame on you. You do not know the past to be going forward in the future. See, even me having a relationship with my own race and having a child, because I didn't know my past or know who I was, it made it harder, even harder, to bring a child into the world, because now you're dealing with difficulties. You know, until we deal with our past or educated in that, what went on before we were here, or educate ourselves into self-knowledge of self, true knowledge of self, not what someone wrote in a book or told us, but knowing who we are, what we are, why we are, until that is clear for us, raising families and all this stuff is going to be a struggle all the time. It's always going to be a struggle, because there's so much manipulation in this world that we were brought into. We were brought into a manipulative world, thinking everything's good. The illusion, the matrix, when it's not all real. And the Matrix lady, she was a Black woman, the one that wrote the Matrix. The guys twisted around to what they wanted. Everything the Europeans take, they're going to twist it around. But she was prophetic, been prophetic, if I can pronounce it. She was, like all Black women are. All Black women are able to see. You're the Ma. You're the builder, the architect of all this, unbeknownst to you. So until we tap into that which is within us, yeah, she wrote all of that. I always said I'm about to really write something that I want to knock out Wakanda, because when Wakanda came out, before Wakanda came out, I was doing my story, and it was a little bit similar, but it's not all that similar. And thank goodness it's not similar, because the way the Wakanda came out is not too good. According to a lot of people, not happy with that. So things happen for a reason. I thought that my ideas was being taken with Wakanda, but on the other hand, it was weak compared to what I have. So I am really, really feeling a lot stronger as far as my creativity. So I'm going to be working on those things and going ahead and seeing my vision through with the story I have. Uh, sometimes things just take time. You got to learn a lot, got to grow, and I think that I'll be all right as far as that's concerned, because we know what happened with that. Same thing, uh, the Matrix and the Terminator were good for us because we were able to see through it. But the Europeans taking, whether you sell your artwork, you sell your work to the Europeans and they turn it into something different. We're always gonna have that familiarity with each other's souls, that we're gonna see straight through it to what it really is. Just like the Bible, if when your eye opens, you're gonna be able to see straight through all these religious dogmas. So, yeah. Oh, she married a. Well, evidently, she hung around them in college, so that's how they stole her work, or she was amongst them, and that's what happens. That's just the nature of the beast. Once again, I repeat, when you I mean, I'm not being racist. This is just a natural fact. I don't know what these people are reading in the Bible. They picking and choosing what they want to read, but the Bible does tell you of your own nation. And if you go outside your nation, that's the consequences you have to face in your life. So she ended up having to go to court, but that's something. Why would you want a life of that? You get what you ask for. If it's all about the beauty and the outer look, no brains, that's what you get. No pun towards Kenya. Kenya. I can't even pronounce his name anymore. But no pun to him. Because I just seen an article. It's just crazy, who when they want to degrade Black women are degraded already. We've already been degraded. I don't know, and I don't think Black men even try to degrade a white woman at all. But they show more love towards a white woman in ways that they may not see. And then they show in public, I'm talking in public, because once again, rap is communication. Rap is a communication. So there's no truth in it, anything. Because if a Black woman is already downtrodden and downgraded, and the others are allowed to do whatever they want to do and look like whatever they want to look, and we got a lot of our women wanting to subscribe to that, then how can you down down your own woman when she's already down, when she wants to emulate what should have been put down a long time ago. Yeah, we don't have that in our hearts. We don't have that in our hearts. We don't have none of that in our hearts. I agree with you. So let me get off of here. I got to get my girls to school camp. So I might come on later and maybe have a part 2 of this conversation. But that's it for the day. Thank you guys. Thank you again for being here. Always remember true love, real peace, and the higher self within us, the soul. The soul, which does not hold anger, but always asks why. You know, we ask why. The lower self asks why. The soul doesn't ask anything. The soul is just here for the experience of the lower self. So, yeah, Ayapa, I sent you an email. Because I have 3 other stories I want to push out, and I want to see what you can do if you got the time. So please email me back and let me know. I'll talk to you later. Peace and love, family. Till next time.